from my Pocahontas look.
Wanna have fun?
Yeah,
We can have fun. We can play. Perfect. Thank you. Are we ready to go? Hello to you and a warm welcome to Visionaries. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, a vision does not have borders. It transcends space and time. And in fact, it can be fulfilled no matter where you are in the world, even if you're far away from home. My guest today is Zimbabwean-born entrepreneur Godfrey Madanhire. He is making his dreams come true here in South Africa, and he's inspiring people to do the same across the globe. Godfrey, Ndeipi.
Oh, oh, that's a good one.
How's it out of 10?
Yeah,
Not bad.
11 out of 10.
Okay,
You know,
and if
you
I
did
say
very well.
Makarini, that's how I say it?
Makadini, yeah,
Makarini.
exactly.
Nduri right.
Oh, wow. We
I'm
need
ready
take
to
you
move
back
to
Zim.
Zimbabwe. I'm
Anytime,
ready. Which part
anytime.
of Zim are you from?
Yeah, I'm from the Midlands province, which is, you know, between Harare and Bulawayo, a town called Kwekwe. You know, growing up, my dad was working for a small chrome smelting company. And my mom, she was working for some factory. And, you know, we had an average family. And, you know, because my father, at least he had a car to drive around.
Okay.
You know, he was getting paid weekly. But, you know, he had his own, you know, challenges. You know, as he was trying to handle the new excitement of getting a job and working in a town and driving a car.
It sounds like it was a modest upbringing. It was modest.
You know, definitely, you know, it was, you know, because we could eat ice cream at the end of the month.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know.
It's a
all
big
the
benchmark, that one. Okay, but it was at the end of the month. Okay. And
Yeah,
tell
you
me a
know.
little bit about your siblings.
Yes, okay, I'm the eldest. We are 5. You know, I have, you know, 4 siblings. You know, it's 3, you know, boys and 1 girl who happens to be the last one. Yeah, so, you know, it's not that big.
I can see. Is that your brother?
Yeah, no, that's my brother who comes after me.
Are you the typical older brother, very responsible, making sure everybody behaves?
I try to be. I try
Yeah.
to be, and life has taught me to be one. So, you know, to them, I'm more than just a brother. And like I said, obviously, it had to do with you know, the way we grew up. You know, at some point, my father was not there for us, and I had to play that role.
And as a student, I read somewhere that you won a particular prize in grade 2, which shaped your life for the better, I suppose, even up to this point.
All right, you know, you know, it's surprising when you look at, you know, some of the things that we go through at a very young age and the kind of impact that they have on our life as we grow older. I was in grade 2, and in a school of about 2,000 children, you know, I was picked up and I got an award for being the most smartly dressed child, you know, at the school. You know, that could have been a very small thing for other people, but for me, it was like a huge thing.
When you finished with high school, what did you then do?
You know, before I get to high school, I would say, you know, like I mentioned, you know, about my father. You know, my father was one I would call a player. You know, used to get paid on a Thursday, and my father would disappear from home. You know, we don't see him. He goes out on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On Monday morning, you know, he rocks up at home.
Paycheck is finished.
Yeah, he's broke now. He dresses up and then he goes to work. He did that for a while as I was growing up in primary school. And then at some point, it became boring, I want to think. And then he decided to come through to the house with his girlfriends, and he would park the car outside.
My goodness.
Yes, and he would spend the night with his girlfriend in the car.
My goodness.
And then it became boring again, and then he decided to bring in the girlfriend into the house, and he would kick my mother out of the house and out of the bedroom, and she would spend the whole night crying and all that.
That was quite traumatic.
Yeah, it was, I must say. It was, but you know, it made me a stronger person.
You felt you had to be the man of the house?
You know, I had no choice, you know, but to do that. So when I got to high school, You know, my father, you know, sometimes he could do things just because everyone else around him was doing that. He sent me to boarding school. You know, I'm the only one who went to boarding school.
Yeah.
So my first 2 years of high school, I was in boarding school. And it was exciting, but you know, I had to, you know, they had to withdraw me from that boarding school again because he was not paying school fees in time, and at some point he even, you know, came to fight with the deputy head of the school because they were sending me away from home, you know, away from school, you know, because not because he couldn't afford, but just because he had a lot of other activities to do. You know, that were taking his money away, and he couldn't pay for me. Yes.
And so you had to work immediately after school.
Now, after my high school, I had to look for a job because you know, I wanted to look after my siblings, and also to, you know, raise some money for myself, so that when I then decide to, you know, carry on with my studies, I can sponsor myself. Yeah.
I'm looking at a picture over there. Tell me about what was going on there.
Yeah, you know, you see, those are my days when I was, you know, teaching as an unqualified teacher before I went for training. You can see I looked very young.
You are very young.
Yes,
I'm looking
yes.
at that, and I thought you should be in one of the classes, actually.
Yes. So, you know, in my class, I would have kids that are like my age, you know, but because you're putting on a tie, you know, they're forced to somehow respect you. Yeah, you know, it was quite a challenge. I started working when I was about 18 years old.
My goodness.
Yes.
And when did you make the decision to South Africa, to come at least to South Africa?
That was in 2000. I didn't really know whether I wanted to come through or not. And you will understand, in 2000, life was not as hectic as it is now in Zimbabwe. So it was during school holidays. I came through with my uncle, my mother's brother. He's a truck driver. So, you know, I said, okay, let me go with you. I had a friend who was here in South Africa. He came through, he said to me, I got a job. It's easy in South Africa for you to go and get a job.
Yeah.
I said, okay, no, it's fine. I can't risk, but I will come during school holidays. He directed me to come through, to take a taxi, and I went to Diepsloot.
My word.
Yes, it was a huge culture shock.
Yes.
You know, because while life is tough and not as advanced as it is here in South Africa, you know, back home, you know, in terms of infrastructure,
Yeah,
you don't have that. You don't have
corrugated iron structures.
No, you don't have that in Zimbabwe. Yes. Now, when I got to his house, he was renting at the back of someone's house, and you know, it was a shack. And what he didn't tell me is that when he came back, he got a job. He came to Zim, he told me about it, and when he came back, they told him, no, you know what, we're not going to employ you anymore, because how can you go home before you even start working? Incidentally, his wife was sick, and when I got into that room, she was lying on the floor. They didn't even have a bed. They didn't have food in the house. They didn't even have salt. I had 500 rand, and you know, I had to make a plan. And you know, we went to buy some food. I gave him some money to take his wife to a clinic, yes, you know, so that she could be treated. And started looking for a job as a teacher. And I realized that it's not what, you know, people thought. You know, it's very difficult. So I then made a quick decision to say, you know, I'm going to do anything, you know, that comes my way. So I started going door to door looking for jobs with my CV. And then I got a job, you know, to work for an insurance company.
Yeah.
Yes, which was something completely new for me.
I want to talk about that. After the break, I want the good, the bad, and the ugly of being in South Africa. All right,
No, we'll
so
do
let's
that.
do that when we return. Stay with us. Hello again, and thank you so much for staying with us. Let's continue our conversation with Zimbabwean-born entrepreneur Godfrey Madanhire. Godfrey, you were speaking to us about how you finally managed to get a job now with an insurance company. Talk to me about those trials and how you finally got your big break.
Yeah, the first thing obviously was, you know, the issue of the language. You will understand that, you know, we're going door to door, you know, selling short-term insurance products. You know, you knock on people's doors and you are an African guy, and the next thing you want to greet them in English.
Yeah.
You want to talk to them in English, and they ask you, why are you speaking in English? You know,
They say sanbonan.
yeah, sanbonan, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you say, yeah, it's because, you know, I can't speak Zulu. They said, okay, no, it's fine. You can speak Sotho or Tswana.
Yeah.
And
You
then
say, no, that's not an
then he says,
option
no,
either.
No, I can't. And then they said, what's wrong? And then you tell them, no, I'm from Zimbabwe. Say, oh, makwere, what's wrong now?
Wow.
You know? Now you can imagine what it does to your confidence. You know, I'd never done sales. So obviously I'm shaking, you know, I'm trying to memorize the pitch in my mind, and then someone says things like that, and then you're off already. So you know, it was quite a challenge, you know. And every day you're constantly reminded that you are away from home, you know. And you know, so you know, but I carried on because I saw potential in what I was doing. I saw potential. I saw there was room for growth, and I said, "No, what I will keep on doing." You know, there's another friend of mine that joined me. We worked together, and then he said to me, "No, I can't stand for this." And I remember those days when we would go up, you know, the flats in Hillbrow, and he would tell me, "Hey, did you really study to be a teacher? You know, to come here and work like this, you know?" And he would drain me. So he gave up and he went back. I carried on. And at some point, I then impressed my bosses, and there was an opportunity for them to open a new branch in Cape Town. So they said to me, okay, Godfrey, you know, we see how you're doing, and, you know, would you consider, you know, moving to Cape Town? And, well, you know, I'd never seen, you know, the beach. You know, I'd never, you know, Zimbabwe is landlocked. There is no sea. So I thought, here's an opportunity for me to go and at least, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. And at least, you know, get close to the water. So, you know, I jumped for it, and I remember I took a train. It was a 30-hour, you know, a trip. You know, the train got delayed. And I remember, you know, that trip like yesterday, because, you know, I packed my, you know, my clothes. Some of my clothes couldn't fit in my bag, and some of them I had to put them in a black plastic bag and all that. You know, I went through, you know, I got to this place, you know, where I was, you know, supposed to stay, and you know, the landlord was like shocked, you know, when they saw me, you know, coming through, and that's how I got to Cape Town. Yeah, no, because you know, the issue I spoke to you about the black plastic bag. What happened is, you know, when I dropped off, you know, I missed my stop sign, because I was talking to them on the phone, and they told me where to drop off, and for some reason I missed, you know, there was Africans there now, you know. I was trying to adjust Africans again, and then the taxi driver, you know, was not happy with me, so they threw out my stuff. And as they tried to throw out my plastic bag, one of the plastic bag got hooked, you know, by the seat, and all the clothes were lying on the road. And as they drove off, I was picking up my clothes, you know, and you know, when I go to this house, you can imagine, they don't know you, you're a new tenant, and you are coming in with a bag, and you are carrying some clothes in your hands like this, some are falling off. And the landlord asked me, but are you the one that I was talking to on the phone? Then I said, yes, it's me. And he said, and the clothes? And I said, no, it's fine, I will explain. He said, okay, when are they going, when is the truck coming with your, you know,
your belongings, your furniture, all of that.
You know, but I had everything, you know. So, and it was difficult for me again to say to him,
no,
this is me, and we're done, you know. So I told him, you know, in a few days' time, they're going to deliver. Yeah, you know, they showed me a room, and I had to sleep on the floor, you know, until he realized that, no, there's nothing that's coming here. Yeah, he offered me, you know, one bed that was in his garage and an old television set. He said, okay, you can pay this one at the end of the month for me, you know. And, you know, so that's how I got to Cape Town, you know. And I started working for this, you know, for this company, built it. And, you know, we started doing very well. And I started opening other branches there for them. Yes, and, you know, at some point I ended up running about 11 different offices for them. Yes, in the Western Cape and in the Eastern Cape as well.
Sure.
You know, I was now their divisional manager, and you know, now I was making some good money. You know, looking after my mother back home, and you know, it was quite exciting. Yes, yeah.
When do you then start out your own investments and your own ventures?
Right. In 2006, there are things that I was not happy with, in that company. Plus, I was also beginning to feel there is something that I was born for, which is much bigger than me being here. I must say, I was making quite good money. Sometimes I would get like 80,000 rand, 90,000 rand. I mean, that was 2006.
Yeah.
Which was not bad. Which was not bad. Yes. So I raised those issues that I was not happy with, and my employers then could not, accommodate, my issues. And I thought, what, it's time for me to maybe work towards my purpose. So I left that company. It was on the 30th of October 2006, and 2 weeks later, on the 16th of November, I then started my own business, which is basically, a motivation, because I feel I've got a story to share. And if I can just share my story with other people, they can get to live their dreams. I believe in dreams. I'm obsessed when it comes to dreams. I smoke dreams, I eat dreams. I even named one of my kids Dreams,
Yes.
Yeah, that just shows, the addiction. And my business is Dreamworld. So, I also have another business called Dream Car Hire. I have a lodge called the Dream Lodge.
Wow.
So you can see what's going on with dreams. And I strongly believe, if Eleanor Roosevelt says, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And, I believe that 100%.
Yeah. When we come back, I want to know what dreams you're dreaming now for the future. So what does the future have in store for you? If you're just as interested to find out as I am, make sure you stick around. See you in just a bit. Welcome back. Our guest today just reminds us that dreams really can come true. Godfrey, you once said that you dream of a life where you can eat ice cream because you want to and not because it's the end of the month. That dream came true. So what else are you hoping to achieve?
Yeah, no, for me now, you see, in the beginning, it was just about me, and it was about my family, making a difference in their lives. I made a promise to my mother, and I wanted her to be comfortable. My dream and my vision has changed. It is not just about me, it's not just about my family, but maybe it's about me leaving a legacy, and I want to do more of that. In essence, I would love to write my name in the hearts of many.
That's the greatest legacy.
Absolutely.
My goodness. Tell me now about the Passport Showcase. What's that all about?
The Passport Showcase is again an attempt, to try and make a difference in a lot of people's lives. So what I did, I wrote a book called The Passport. And, it's basically, a collection of letters and poetry written by a foreign national, which is me. So now in those letters, some letters are written to leadership back home to say, look, we are here now away from home, not because we wanted to be, but because you made it tough for us and uncomfortable. So we had to cross the border. I then transformed the book from being a book called The Passport to a showcase, where now, we have different designers from different countries. We have the first edition on the 3rd of November. It was amazing. We got designers from different countries.
Wow.
Because I believe it's a Pan-African project. That's the Africa that we would like to see. Well, models are showcasing different designs from the designers. You have the book, me reading the book in the background, and the sound of music. And at some point, you also have artists, I also had like some artists that draw portraits using, candle flame, candle smoke. You also have dancers that interpret what I'm saying through movement, to try and send that message.
Sure.
Yeah,
so
and,
you've come a long way from the days of being in that taxi on your way to Cape Town. Tell me about why you brought this and why it's so special to you.
Now, this for a lot of people is just a black plastic bag. Yes. But for me, it reminds me of that journey I took from Johannesburg to Cape Town with my clothes in there because I didn't have enough money to buy a bag. I had to pack them in. And, you know, that incident when those clothes, you know, when I had to pick up those clothes from the street. But it also reminds me another incident. You know, when I started my business, it was not the end of all my, you know, my challenges.
Yeah.
You know, my previous employer, he sued me for a restraint of trade because for some reason they said I'm using the concept, the model of the business. I was doing a different product, different service, but I was using the concept, the model of the business, which is what I learned from them. Yeah, so they sued me for like 50,000 plus interest was 57,000 rand. So they, you know, one day they just rocked up into my office, and you know, they said they are touching everything in my office if I don't pay that money. You know, I called an attorney, and attorney said to me, you know, Godfrey, you know, you shared with me your vision and what you want to achieve. And if you're going to be fighting with these people, it's just going to distract you. If you have money, or if you can put together some money, pay these people off so that you can focus on your dream and your vision. And that then affected my cash flow. And I had to take one of my employees into my house to stay with him, you know, because I needed someone. I needed to be with someone because I was just too scared to be alone.
What you would do?
Yes, yes. And you know, this young man then said to me, look, I can see, you know, boss, you know, things are tough and cash is running out. My sister used to do fat cakes, you know, fat cakes? Yes, and you would sell them at the train station and when people are going to work. And she would make money, you know, so you can make money and that can keep you going until you get money from your debit orders. So I said, okay, no, fine, let's do that. I'd never, you know, baked fat cakes in my life. So that night, me and him, you know, we were baking fat cakes in my flat, you know, the whole night. In the morning, we looked for a lady. We took her to the train station. We gave her, you know, a dish that was full of fat cakes. We said, sell these fat cakes. In the afternoon, went back to pick up the lady, and the lady was in tears. You know, she was crying. What's wrong? You know, she said, no, please take me home. And she had all the fat cakes, you know. What we didn't know is that, you know, when people opened those fat cakes, you know, they were like raw, you know, in the middle. They would look nice and okay
outside, but inside
when they open,
undercooked.
you know, they're uncooked. Yes. So they threw these fat cakes at her, and she only had 1 rand. She only sold 1 fat cake because someone bought it and jumped on the train. Yes. So we had to take those fat cakes into again the black bag. You know, so I had to put the fat cakes in the in the black plastic bag. And they were to go and throw away those, you know, those fat cakes. So, you know, when I look at the black plastic bag, you know, I think about, you know, all
the
you know,
struggles.
yeah, all those struggles, you know, and you know, hopefully, you know, I've seen the last of it.
You have done exceptionally well for yourself against tremendous odds. I want to know now, what do you do to give back to yourself? So how do you then relax? How do you then reward yourself for all your hard work?
You know, that's, yeah, you know, I travel a lot. For someone who was born in Zimbabwe in a very small town called Kwekwe, you know, I've traveled, you know, I've been to Spain, I've been to Norway. You know, I met, you know, the prince, crown prince of Norway. They invited me to come and speak there. That's how I get to reward myself.
It's been such a pleasure having you with us. Thank you very much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how we end the show. Thank you very much for joining us. See you again next time. Goodbye. God bless.
In life, it is very important, you know, that we understand that we don't win every battle. The bigger picture is about winning the war. And we also need to understand that in life, you know, you're going to face challenges, but let not those challenges define you.